Hi everyone, welcome again to another video. The last couple of times I've fished, once I was on the river, well, it was the River Hare, and yesterday I was fishing the River Doon, and I was catching on this fly here. Now this is just a small beaded nymph pattern where I've actually tied on the tungsten bead basically underneath to give it it's a jig hook. It changes a standard shank hook into a jig hook. But one of the main reasons I did this is because the beads I had, these small beads, I don't know if you can see it there, but they were malformed. Lots of them. These are only 1.5 mm tungsten beads, and I couldn't get them round the bend of the hook. So what I did was I used a nylon, say in this case this is a 12-pound nylon, and I basically put it through the small hole like this to show you, and then so the big holes at the back, and I melted the nylon up against it, pressed it with the back of my nail. That just flattens it. I'll do a better job. And that there acts as a stopper for the bead. If I take the bead back, you'll see it's flat. And that there then just stops the bead from coming away. And it allowed me to tie these onto the top end of my nymph part, in this case a small pheasant tail. Now obviously in the past few years now you can buy obviously jig hooks, small jig hooks that do the same. It'll present the nymph upside down. Such like this, but for some reason I've just every time I use these I catch fish. I always run out of these flies, and yesterday I was really struggling. The conditions are not very good just now. Basically we've had sort of long, dry and warm 2 or 3 weeks, a couple of weeks or more, so the water, the rivers are not fishing too well. But yesterday when I went down, I was fishing this alongside, there's a wall that I can fish, and if it wasn't for this I wouldn't have caught any fish. And I only had one left, so I'm going to be tying some, but I'm going to tie them I've been tying some olives. I'm doing them both on the jig hook and on the method of using the bead. I just like the beaded nymph. I'm tying obviously different colours. I've got, in this case, this is the pheasant tail dyed, this is an olive, I've got the natural, and so on. I'm going to I'll tie a natural one. I'm using a dark brown thread uni. The hook I'm using, I'll tie both of them so you can see them. So we've got the size 18, this is a heavyweight champ in this case. Now I did get a question about these heavyweight champs. There's another version of this hook. I don't know what the difference is. I think it's maybe the strength of the wire. I need to look into it a wee bit more. But anyway, we're going to tie it. This is a size 18. It's a lovely wee hook. Strong, it's a 3x strong, so it's a good wire. I did have a nice trout one yesterday and I lost it. It just came off. But I had another nice one after it, but anyway. Brown thread to suit a brown fly, usually is the best choice. Let's just wax the thread. Now I'm going to take it halfway down the shank, ping off the waist piece, come up or maybe not exactly halfway, but just imagine where you want the bead, and that's where I want it here now. When this bead's put on the top, it will flip the hook up, just like a jig hook. So we've already got our bead here, so you can see it's there. So what we do is we just catch it on the top, just 2 or 3 turns. I usually like to come in front as well. I want it to sit up a wee bit. Come back to the back of the hook and trim away the nylon. I've never lost the bead on this method. I've lost the hook, I've lost the fly. Obviously in the bottom usually, but for grayling and for brown trout this is a great wee fly. Now for the tail, I'm just going to use this Coq de Leon fibre. This is a fiery ginger, a fiery brown Coq de Leon. This one's from Whiting. You could use whatever hackle fibres, you could even use the pheasant tail. So I've got the tail fibres, and as you can see I've quite a few. Oops, come round with a turn. I usually come underneath just to lock it. 2 or 3 turns on top. There we are. Rib of the fly. Now, and the olive one I used a sort of chartreuse colour. Now I'm going to be using a copper, just a small copper wire. So when you catch this on, pull the wire in. I'm going to wind up, securing it in. Now, obviously the nylon will thicken up the body a wee bit. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to use pheasant tail. I want to use the tips here is for legs as well. So I'm going to bring it 90 degrees from the stem. You'll see the tips, they should line up. You want a good half dozen because you need at least 3 fibres either side of the bead. So as you see I'm right up at the bead here. So when you catch it, just catch it on the top, a couple of turns, quite loose. That's what's happened to my thread. Now what I'm going to do is make sure it's on the top. You can sort these out, but I'm going to go back. The thread wasn't sitting properly there, it was caught around the leg of the bobbin holder. You don't want these legs too long. There's one broken one there. Now look, we can sort them when we come back up. So we take the thread back to the tail, bring the thread back up and stop it just short of the bead. I'm going to put some dubbing in there. Now I'm going to wind the pheasant tail the opposite way. I wind my thread and my rib. So we catch this on because we're doing that we have to lock in. So we come over the pheasant tail by a turn and a turn onto the hook. Do the same again and again. It'll not roll back or fall back. Then we bring our rib up the same way we wind our thread, which is cross ribbing the pheasant tail fibre, so you should be able to see it far better. In 3 or 4 turns, just make sure it's secure. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to separate these. I should have done a better job but I'm going to just basically put 3 either side of the bead fibres. Use my thread turns to do that. Oh, forgot one. You could use the dubbing to help do it as well. I keep forgetting this one here. Looks a bit messy, but we'll sort it. Get my dubbing. I'm just going to use some, this is a fully milled, this one here, light hare's ear. You could use any sort of natural type fibre that suits a brown coloured body. In this case it's the Euro Nymph dub. Just going to do a turn here. 2 anyway. This will give impression of legs as well. Then we fold back these legs and then just going to zigzag over the bead. Finish off in the front. At this point, just check, see how the legs are sitting. Maybe tiny bit more, tiny bit more for the head area. I'm still holding the bead up so I can get some dubbing underneath. Just stroke it back, any dubbing that's going forward, and then what we want to do is just varnish my thread. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tighten up. Just taking out the long fibres, the extra long ones. Let's do a 3 there, so just be careful with your legs. There we are, small pheasant tail. small buggy like, and it's amazing how this fishes really well. Obviously with the bead being on top, it's going to flip it over, it's going to sit up, it's going to sit like this. Obviously sit. Presents the nymph a wee bit better sometimes, I think, kind of more level, like the tungsten bead. It will sit more like this rather than flat. It's just the way it's in the water. It's a tiny bit of difference, like, but these catch me lots of fish. That's why I keep tying. Plus, I've got piles of these beads I can't get around the bend of the hook. Now I have one sitting here. I've got the bead. Now, obviously, the tungsten bead on the jig hook. Jig hook I'm using is this one. It's the size. It's a 22. It's a small jig force, the 50-45, as you can see. 2x heavy, so that's the thickness of the wire. So it's a strong wee hook. I'll just get it level on my vise. I'll do the olive one this time. I'm just changing to the olive thread. Just going to be running the thread down. Move the waist. Just use the same Coq de Leon fibre. This is this fiery ginger colour. It's a lovely colour. Could use like a medium Pardo, but this is a good colour, it works. Again, just catch on the top, length of the body, and probably around, sorry, the length of the tail is around about the length of the body. I'm going to use a Chartreuse wire. This is just the Venier stuff. It is a small, it's quite heavy for this size, but I like to see the colour. I like to see this rib. Gives a nice shape in the fly as well. It helps you build it up. Again, I'm just going to use this case. I'm going to use dyed olive pheasant tail. Bring them fibres 90 degrees from the stem. Should line them up, except for one. Again, we're going to tie this forward. So we take it up to the bead. Just tie it on top. Just check the length. Different lengths here. And you carry on down. Lost the one. Pheasant tail is for the body, obviously. So we're going to bring the thread back up, wind it towards ourselves again. Cross the pheasant tail with a turn onto the hook to lock that in, do the same again and again. Trim away. Now I like the rib to be quite close. Now, as I say, this is cross ribbing the pheasant tail. This wee nymph drops really quick, it's quite a good wee nymph. Skewer it in, and then keeping the thread tight, just bend the wire till it breaks. Now, lots of dubbins you could use. This is a kind of dyed olive. This is fox squirrel. Let's build up some at the back here. I'm going to force the legs back with the dubbin. Now we could split it with the dubbin, so if you basically force them down either side and then come over with a thread turn or two, just build up the dubbin. I like to sort of crease it a wee bit. Again, a wee bit of varnish on your thread and put a finish. Tighten up, trim away. Again, any long fibre, it's super long, you can take it away. But you can see the legs, so there's your idea, there's your two styles. Now, as I say, it's a good way. I like to just because this style catches that many fish for me. I keep doing it, and plus I've obviously got beads that I can't get around the bend of certain hooks. And it's a good way of using them up. Do them different colours. There's the same colour again. Change the colour of the beads. There's copper, there's gold, there's silver. I mess about with the colours. I find that there's times a certain colour works better than others, but as long as this presents the fly down nice, they tend to take it. And as I say, it's a good wee style. So there's the standard pheasant tail, one tied on the standard sort of hook. That's on the jig force. Both flies work. You can see the difference. This is an 18, believe it or not. It looks smaller than the 22. It's just because of the style of the hook. So there we are, folks. That's the small pheasant tail, natural, and the dyed olive, tied into kind of two styles. So give them a go. I mean, it's as I say, it's a good way of using up some of these beads, and they're great flies. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and like always, thanks for watching. Until next time.